Have we started the fire?
Yes, the fire rises.
How come you don't want me, man?
I have failed this city.
Today we face the monsters that are at our door and bring the fight to them. We will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. This day we fight! That's how winning is done.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Friday Night Frenzy, where the topics are more like say the guidelines and actual rules. We got a very special guest here today. We got the rider of the storm, the watcher of all the damned. We have Rosa. How you doing, my friend?
Hi. How are y'all doing tonight?
Fine and dandy like sour candy. And as always, we have the yin to my yang, the bearer of bad jokes, the loser in the lasagna wars. We have Cow.
I don't know. Given what movie we're going to be reviewing, I could not help but change my name to this.
Yes, you've definitely moved me.
Definitely. Oh my god. As you and I were talking about earlier, I'm trying to remember when's the last time I saw this movie. It was either in my late teens or at least some point in my 20s. Aside
Really?
from that, never again.
Yeah, it's kind of the same with me. So this was my first time rewatching the movie as a grown adult. And so obviously with a lot of movies, you watch them as a kid, they're one thing, and as adults another. Like Goofy movie is a very big example of that. You watch it as a kid, it's like, come on, Goofy, let Max have some fun.
Yeah,
And then
right.
as an adult, you're like, Max is an entitled little prick.
Yeah,
Hey.
that's exactly what you see.
But
Of the Goofy movie, actually, that it actually appeals to you across the spectrum, no matter what.
Yeah.
So before we do that, and I got something special here. I was at the grocery store the other day, and I saw these, and I think Watcher is gonna like this.
If I can see it.
All right. I mirror my thing. Let me just fix that real quick.
I'm gonna actually turn this down. I'm gonna pull it up on here so I don't blow you away, but I'm gonna try to
Blow you.
Dang it!
Blow me away. Like tornadoes.
Oh my gosh.
All right, Rosa.
It's
there you
real.
go.
For real.
So I got an actual bottle of Sunset Sarsaparilla
That is amazing.
from Fallout New Vegas, and I've never had this before. I got 3 of them. They're free for $5. Like, actually a really good deal. So I am going to try it for the first time on stream.
Oh my
And
god.
no blue cap. Sorry, no blue cap. But
all over.
I got a Sunset Sarsaparilla bottle cap though. That's cool.
Where did you get this?
I was at my local Myers. It's Jones Soda. So
Lucky.
I know Sarsaparilla's root beer.
Mhm.
I'm kind of indifferent on root beer. I think it's okay.
Yeah.
So I should, let's see here.
Well, there's only one that I'm like dedicated to, and that's Dad's root beer. If you remember that.
I gotta be honest.
Awesome.
This is not bad.
Such a sad person that way.
This is actually not bad. Holy crap.
Oh, well, I mean, what they don't tell you is there's a little bit of cannibalism mixed in that bottle. So I'm be.
What? No, wait, babe.
What?
Okay, my bad jokes do have their limits.
All right. Twister. Pretty famous movie that came out 1996. Got a kind of okay sequel more recently. We're mostly going to be talking about the first movie, probably a little bit about the second movie later on the show. Rose, what's your thoughts, like general thoughts upon the movie before we kind of dive deep in?
Okay, first of all, this is so influential in my the community I'm in, and as some of y'all know, I am actually a Skywarn coordinator. I am a firefighter and an EMT, and I'm also what would be called a storm chaser. In my county, I actually work with the National Weather Service to coordinate my storm spotters so they can go out and get me the information I need below radar. And one of our favorite things to do is, of course, to keep our eyes on the tornadoes. Now, we run a very safe organization, so let me say that right up front for all the Karens out there. They're going to cry about how we're clogging up the roads or whatever. I'm doing it for my county. We're actually inside the county. Most of my people are what we call point spotters, meaning that we're actually grounded at a particular station. Now, my firefighters, they will actually drive out and they'll go out to a particular location. They'll set up on top of it. They'll have their truck. They'll check in with me, usually via radio, via text, or my groups. And then I'm also a ham radio operator, and as well as a lot of my spotters, including my daughter, who is also one of my coordinators, actually my administrator, and keeps me going. She also reads my radar for me. And so we get that together. I get my people out there and they set up on the storms, and then we have them call it in. And because we are very far below the radar, actually in some places we're almost 8,000 feet below the radar, which means there's over a mile of atmosphere that's above us, and the radar cannot see the bottom of these storms. So that my storm spotters have to go out and they have to look at these storms. Well, Twister is so hugely influential. I know of one of my gentlemen, Mike, fantastic dude, has been the guy that was before there was me as the WeatherNet operator in Limestone County. There was Mike, and Mike has seen this movie probably 100 times. They go back and watch it like every year, just because it is so influential in this community. And almost everybody I know, my daughter included, Twister is the first introduction they have to actual storm chasing, storm spotting. And of course, a lot has changed since the 1990s regarding that. And we'll touch base with a little bit.
Yeah.
But it is absolutely phenomenal in the way that it was received by people who developed a lifelong love of meteorology, of weather, and we have a lot of people that I call them they are citizen scientists, and they are the ones who go out and do a lot of the spotting for me. They know quite a bit. We have training. It's online, or we also have it in person. The National Weather Service, their meteorologists know us by name, and they will call us when there is an issue. I've had the Weather Service call me on the phone to ask, what are we seeing? Do we have any spotters in this area? And it's just been amazing to have the number of people that I've got involved in our organization, and they were reached by this movie. This is the one that starts it all for them. And so I think that it's fantastic that you invited me to come on for this tonight. I might not stay the whole time because I did just have a stroke, actually. And so I might, if I
wouldn't know. You recovered tremendously, my friend. Can we get some W's in the chat for Rosa for overcoming the stroke, please?
For sure.
Adapt, improvise, and overcome. So I can't really see very well right now. I've actually got my vision's a little messed up because of it. That's what I lost. I lost some of my vision. So you may show me something and I won't be able to see it. So I'm trying to see it. But I have seen a lot of this movie, and so I'm going to be, talking about that. But so if I have to tap out, I'll let you know in advance. But I love this movie, and it's like I said, it's legend among my people, and so I'm here tonight for this. Thank you.
Yeah. I knew you did your storm chasing, so I figured it would be a good one to bring you in. I didn't know how good it would be. I got a follow-up question for you.
Yeah.
But I want to answer some comments first. There is just enough Christ in me too to make me almost feel guilty. Is that why God makes us bleed? See the Okay. So obviously this is an influential movie. It's basically, this movie is to weather scientists what Top Gun is to people who join the Navy to become a fighter pilot kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'd say they're equivalent kind of thing. How accurate is this movie to storm chasing of the time? Because like you touched upon, it has changed dramatically. They don't even use the same F scale anymore. We'll touch upon that later. But in regards to mid-90s storm chasing, to the best of your ability, how accurate do you think this movie is?
It is fairly accurate. Now, let me say this: the archetype. Remember, this is a movie. It's not fantasy, but it is a movie. And so there's a lot of, I would say, there's a lot of distillation of character. We have iconic characters that are representative of groups. The meteorologist that started off as a storm chaser, and remember, at this time when it comes out, storm chasing is really just kind of getting started as far as an actual celebrity thing. And in fact, that's what's going to catapult this into the ether, basically, as far as, suddenly being something everybody wants to do. But the part about getting out there in a truck, trying to chase it down. Yes, Mike Thetford, he definitely has done this. He's not supposed to. Now, that's the thing. So if you're watching me tonight, let me start off with a caveat. We are supposed to be safe. We're supposed to take care of the people not only in our truck, but the people on the road. We're supposed to be doing it in a very methodical manner. And in the 1990s, part of that involved, yes, getting in your truck and absolutely burning down the highway. Still, there's a lot of people that will get in their trucks and will go out and they will actually chase these storms. But we do it differently, primarily because of an incident called the El Reno storm. And that was in May of 2013, if I'm not mistaken. And that storm in and of itself changed the way that we storm chase now. A lot of those chasers that were on that chase learned from Twister. So a lot of it is sort of replicated. Life imitated art, art imitated life. And we had that
the cowboy mentality, that kind of thing.
Cowboy mentality, you have to have it. You can't get out there and stand in front of a tornado and not have a cowboy mentality. You have to be able to buck up.
A tornado is basically a raging bull. And if you cannot stare down the bull, what are you doing there?
Well, you have to be able to make good decisions on the ground with that happening right in front of you. And I have had that right in front of me. In fact, I was doing my EMT. I was doing my training when I was at a hospital when a tornado touched down in my town. And I went over and I recognized that we were having a tornado. And this is right before I started WeatherNet. And so I ran over to the doors and I told everybody they had to, we actually started evacuating people into the hallways to get them away from the windows. And I had to go and pull the door shut. The doors actually flew open. I grabbed them as I'm pulling it shut. I look up and there's this funnel right overhead and it's coming down hard. And I have to actually power the door shut. And it's almost, that's the reason that I just done a review on this movie where I was watching the first part of it, watching him holding that door shut and it's rattling like that. That's real. You actually have it just trying to break it out. I had a hospital full of people behind me and the nurses are running everywhere. And I'm just like a lowly, intern at this point. And I'm the one holding the door because I knew that there was a tornado. And of course it took out all of our comms. It took out everything else. We actually had to do a shadow dispatch at that time. It's a pretty famous incident in our town. And it really influenced me because we got our information from the spotters. And those spotters, most of them were influenced by this movie. So is it realistic? It's realistic in the sense that the caricatures that you see are real people that I have actually met that were that way before this movie came out. Certainly Dusty is famous, his archetype of the crazy one that's just there to see it just because the thrill of the adrenaline, it is real. There's no doubt.
One thing I noticed is, we were talking about Dusty.
Yeah. Dusty's
actions, when viewed through a modern lens, kind of do come across as a little bit of creepy. I'm not going to lie.
Well, yeah, him being creepy, that part. Don't worry about that part. It's the part where he's actually running after that storm, where he's actually trying to get it. He's trying to get all of these, the experience. Yes, he is the chaser who does it just for the thrill. He loves the science of it. Yes, he knows something about it. But he's there because he loves the thrill of it. Action junkies have a tendency to be very extreme characters. The meteorologists, I've known them. A lot of them were influenced by this movie themselves. And when we talk back and forth, almost all of them will mention Twister. Twister has an iconic place in it. And so, yes, we all acknowledge that there are the actions that you're taking under there. Some of these things may not necessarily be realistic. You're going to get ripped out of there. If you're that close to a tornado, usually. So do you
really think leather straps with pipes that go down 30 feet will help you if you're getting in the middle of an F5 tornado? Do you really think that would save them?
No.
F5, we've seen crazy stuff.
Just leather straps that aren't even like time. Sorry.
I'm serious. We've seen it where there's something right next to a tornado where the tornado literally touched down right next to it and went over. And it skipped this one thing, and then just 2 feet away, there's a 2x4 through a concrete pylon. It is just nuts to watch it. We've seen so many weird things that I will say anything can happen in a tornado. Is it realistic? No, but I've seen some crazy stuff.
Well,
So could it happen? Yes. Would you really want to do that? No. You need an F5. You're not going to know until it's there, and when it's there, you're pretty well. It's in the hands of Jesus at that point, y'all.
So we were talking earlier, like I kind of mentioned how the scale is different. So in this movie, things are related from an F1 to an F5, which is the Fujito scale. Am I correct?
Yes.
I think I'm slightly mispronouncing the guy's name.
No, you're.
Say again, please.
Fujita.
Fujita. Okay.
Yeah.
Fujita.
oh
Sorry.
God.
You got the reference. We don't use that scale now. I think we use an EF scale.
Yeah,
You
it's the same scale. It's just called the enhanced Fujito scale.
It is different because it measures only the damage that is done. It does not measure the actual wind speed or anything else. It bases the scale on the damage that is done. So if a 300-mile-per-hour tornado touches down in the middle of a field, it is not considered to be an F5. It will be based on the damage that is done. If it doesn't do any structural damage, it might not be counted except as an F1 or EF1, EF2. Now, this
Why
is
did they? Sorry.
because we've seen just recently a tornado that may have had 300-mile-an-hour winds, and it was considered to be not like an F2 or F3. We know that should have been put in as a very massive tornado, and there's a lot of complaints and back and forth about why we're doing it this way. They're trying to show people that, well, this tornado will do this damage. They're trying to show the public what a tornado will do, and so they base it on the damage. I'm of the opinion that it should be based on the wind speed. If I have indicators that this tornado was 300 miles an hour, I want it to be rated as a EF5, because we don't base a hurricane on the damage. We base it on the actual wind speed. And
it sounds like an insurance kind of thing. It sounds like something like the insurance companies push because to me, the F scale is based off of the potential, whereas the EF scale is something after the fact. Like does it get upgraded? Like, let's say you have a 300-mile-per-hour wind, and it's like in a field, it's F2. If it makes a sharp left turn and just destroys them all, does it suddenly get upgraded to an EF5?
Yes, they base it strictly on not strictly, but they base it on the damage.
So it's reactive instead of proactive.
It's reactive. That's the thing, is it doesn't really accurately portray what's actually happening. This is a phenomenon that has definitive scientific measurements. They should be basing it. This is my personal opinion, not the National Weather Service. This is my personal opinion from weather, that we should be basing it on the wind speed, not on the damage. Because
I agree.
Rural community. If I get a 300-mile-an-hour storm, and it hits in the field next door to me, and it's making a divot in the land where it's literally tearing up the soil, I should be able to point at that and say, that's an EF5. That's a 5 tornado.
And strictly speaking, from like a normal person's perspective, like you hear like an EF2 is coming your way.
Yeah.
You might not be as urgent to get out. It has a 300-mile-per-hour winds, but it's just been like chucking cows around.
Well, that's one of the reasons why we don't put a rating on it after, because we don't know what that storm is going to be when it comes down. The Gerald storm, for instance. Gerald is a very famous tornado that happened, I think it's 1993. And it wipes down houses to the concrete foundations.
I feel like we're one disaster away from going back to the original scale. Like, this is a disaster waiting to happen. I'm sorry.
Well, in this case, they started off as a little narrow rope, so you can't really rate them because they go through a lifespan. And so they start off as this little tiny little thing that's maybe just wisping out of the sky. You may not even see it at first. You may only see the debris ball. That's that dust that's down there on the bottom. And you might see just what looks like just barely there, like a translucent pipe above it. And then all of a sudden it will just blossom up. You don't really get a chance to rate it because it's got several different. It's rated at its highest rating the highest amount of damage that it does over the course of its lifespan. And as it dies off, it will usually rope out, is what it's called, where it suddenly becomes very thin again and it just sloops up into the air. So you can't really rate it ahead of time. You can't say, I see this storm. You can say, I think it's at this many miles per hour. It looks like an EF2. You can see it on, there, and it looks like it's this much. And we'll talk about it amongst ourselves. And if it's already touched down and the Weather Service has seen it and they've seen that there's damage to the sun, they say it looks like it's this. But they won't usually tell you anything when it's on the ground and it's going. It'll be called a wedge. That means it's very wide. You have some that are literally just a barrel. It looks like the El Reno storm is a measure of that. It was actually 2.5 miles wide.
I'm sorry, but this just sounds very much just like guesswork. Whereas wind speed, it's like you can measure it, be like, okay, it's been upgraded to an EF4, downgraded to an an F2 or whatever. Yeah. But like EF or whatever, it's just more based off like fairy dust, so to speak.
That's one of the reasons, though, why they did do EF, because you're talking about, okay, how much damage did it do? How fast is that wind? You can't go figure it out when it's there. It's this giant tornado spinning. You can kind of guess at it. It's damage.
And the thing is, the big theme of this film is it's the whole point of the film is a warning system, is to give people time. And now I'm saying I'm more of a layman when it comes to weather science. I will confess to my ignorance here.
Yeah.
But it seems to me the EF scale is more of a post hoc kind of like thing instead of like actual, give people warning kind of thing.
Well, is one thing. It is part of it's for insurance, but it is done because you can see the damage. You can say, okay, it hit here. We believe that it was going this many miles per hour because I see that this brick wall is gone. It takes a certain amount of force. We know how high the wind has to be to take down a brick wall. Mm-hmm. So if it's that high, we can say, okay, I see it. It hit a structure. I can see what it did. It tore this down. So that's the reason why also we go to that afterwards. But you still have eyewitnesses who can visualize, can actually get a video for you now. And we can see from the damage to the sun to trees and other things, or in the field, we should be able to there has to be a compromise somewhere. So that's I understand why they're doing it that way. They want to say that they saw the damage and they can tell you how fast that wind is. But I still feel like that the person who sees it, if they're a trained spotter and we've got audio, visual, whatever, we should be able to say also there's proof that a 300 mile per hour tornado touched down. That should show up somewhere.
I mean, did you see this pickup truck was like flung a full mile kind of thing? Yeah.
Oh, what was that? What was that, dear? I'm sorry, I missed it.
I mean, did you see this pickup truck that was just lifted right off the air and then flung a whole mile? Like, yeah, that's pretty certain.
I've got a single story.
Oh, good. Do it.
Ooh, you tell us.
This is from my grandfather. This is not me.
Ooh.
Okay. He was out there in the the Mathis area of Corpus Christi, Texas.
Yeah.
Okay, his family was farmers out there. Here's the thing. A tornado touched down. He saw it destroy other things, but it didn't kill the chicken that they were taking care of. It plucked it clean, but the chicken was alive.
Yes, this is what I'm saying. You can literally have the craziest stuff happens. We've seen people that were flung a mile and still survived. This is back, I believe, in the last century, that they would find a person. Usually they would be torn up. They would still be alive when they got to them. And they would describe what happened. We've had cases where a mother would be holding a child and they would just literally be lifted out of their mother's arms and the mother would be standing there, but the baby's just taken away. It is literally like dealing with a monster. It really is. It is fascinating. It's the magic. What it chooses to do and how it chooses to do it is almost beyond the ability to describe scientifically.
Which ties into my thesis that Twister is not a disaster film. It is a monster film.
Well, that's kind of ironic because they did take, if I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, but they had like sounds of lions, all these.
Yeah, if you actually listen to this, like the soundtrack, they do put like lions, tiger, like animal noises, and then and obviously, like a lot of monster movies, they're treated like forces of nature. Like Godzilla is a force of nature. Here is a literal force of nature. The tornadoes are literal forces of nature.
Let me say, honestly, having listened to one, and it was a little one. I was outside. We were doing nighttime, which is really hard to do, and they're rain wrapped a lot of the time.
Mhm.
And so I'm supposed to be inside, but I was like, you know what? I've got to go lay eyes on this because I'm here. I see the radar. I know it's coming my way, and it's the middle of just dark, pitch dark. I went ahead and took my camera outside, and it's just raining sideways, and I've got my phone right here, and you can hear it roar. It is like an animal. And it was a very eerie sound because, yes, the roar sounds a lot like it, but there's this high-pitched screech that comes in, making it a two-tone sound that is there, just this moan under this roar. And it actually sounds like an animal in the dark. And I can hear it going overhead. And I'm listening, and I'm actually I'm reporting to the National Weather Service while we're doing this. And this sucker is coming up right over the top of me. And I'm like listening to it, and I'm like, this sounds like an animal. This literally sounds like a beast. And I actually put a video on my website, which is listen to it roar. And it was just a simple, in the dark, just listening to the audio of it. And it really does sound like an animal. So they were trying to imitate that sound. And they actually had people come in and tell them what it sort of sounds like. And it really is a cross between almost like a train whistle and animals roaring in the dark.
Do you have a YouTube video that shows the sound that we could listen to?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like a little one, so it's not big. It would be on my. I don't have it in front of me on my channel right now, so I'd have to.
That's fine. If you could send us the link, either me or whatever, that's fine.
Yeah. Send it to him. We'll look at it later. But I mean, this movie, yes, there's this secret romance hidden underneath this movie, but that's not what this movie's about. Ironically. You would think.
That's just a framing device that Hollywood puts in. See, for me, I'm a storyteller, so I'm always looking at like characters and story beats. And I find this to be very, very well written. Like, even usually in these kind of stories, you have like the new wife and the old wife. Neither of them are really villains in the scenario. Neither of them are like bad people. Like, even Jonas is not really evil. He's just more of a sniveling weasel, cowardly weasel, you know.
Well, no, he's
a jerk, maybe, but not evil.
He's a blithering idiot. I'm just gonna sit there and say it. He's a blithering idiot. You hear these people warning you. It's turning towards you. Turn around. No.
I gotta say, this is where I gotta go like modern politics. I did laugh where the main character's mocking him. He went and got himself some corporate sponsors. He's in it for the money, nothing. Why wouldn't you want to get paid for your work? Also, I guarantee you, 99% of the people on TikTok who do the storm stuff would take a sponsorship if it was offered to them. So it's just funny. That line comes so funny nowadays.
Yes, he does it for for the thrill, not for the science or whatever. There are people who do it for both reasons.
Yeah, which is fine. Yeah,
I know these guys. They're junkies. They literally are. They love it. And I've known a lot of people who are on the professional side of the spotter industry. And I've got a close friend who works with me. And so when Jonas is out there and he's in the middle of it, yes, he's not listening to it. This happens a lot. You get caught up in the moment. You're looking at it. It's coming your way. That's why it's always imperative that you have a handler for yourself, that you have somebody who's going to tap you on the shoulder and say, I know you're mesmerized, because literally you're watching this thing and you're so busy looking at the storm that you don't see the rear inflow wind coming this way. And it'll kill you, just like the storm will right there. And so you've got to have another set of eyes. And most of our people they have their own spotter to go with them, kind of like a sniper. You're chasing the storm. They need to be taking care of you, making sure that you're paying attention. And that's the real story of Jonas. Yes, he's out there, sometimes maybe the wrong reasons. He's still there. He still wants to get those photos. The truth is, a lot of our spotters, we work hand in hand, not only with the National Weather Service, but with other professional storm chasers. They frequently will come through, and the good ones, they come in and they help. They help after the storm. They will stop and help you if there's something's rolled right over your house. They call into the National Weather Service. They let the National Weather Service know first. before they're usually on with us, and they will come in and say, we have a wall cloud. It's a rotating wall cloud. Looks like pretty tight rotation over Highway 14. And so they will let us know where it is. We have our spotters go check. We do the warn. They go ahead and they give us their information, and the warnings are based on them. So I understand that Jonas is the villain in some ways, but he also is, I think, in some ways, he's just caught up in the moment. He's there for his own personal glory. Yes, he's one of those guys, but it's easy to become that way when you're dealing with things like tornadoes, because they're just fascinating. It's just this huge thrill, and it's easy to become a jerk just because you want to get that shot. Just that photo is just so incredible.
I will say,
and we not to do that.
I feel like this part of the story, this dynamic, I feel like they handled it better in Twisters. Because you had Glenn Campbell, they were kind of like the Jonas people, but they were YouTubers, which I thought was a really good update. But they were actually the good guys. And the people who were like the Rabcat group, they were the ones who, like, Jason, could you please? They were the ones who got themselves some corporate sponsors, kind of like doing some kind of like nefarious stuff. I actually thought that whole dynamic was handled a lot better in Twisters. I'll give it some.
I'm gonna watch that movie tonight. Actually, I need to.
Yeah, it's not a bad movie. I went to church camp in Foley, Alabama, one late afternoon. I got the biggest, loudest, bad feeling in my bones. I told the counselors they ignore me, and then that night, they Princess Bride. I see counselors panic because, like I told you, Carrie Elwes plays a great villain. I wish he had taken more villain roles. He is a great villain. I love the actor. I love him. The next day, I found out Turno touchdown, but they can't lift it up. Yeah. If I will say, like, if you kind of watch the movie and you like listen to the subtext about the interactions, Bill Paxton is kind of the a-hole in the relationship. If you really listen to what they're saying, because basically Paxton was kind of torn between stability and the chaos, and he wanted the stability, so that's why he left. And Melissa was like the stability, and Helen was the chaos or whatever.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Like, the writers did a really good job of. There's a whole nother movie's worth of storytelling that is told in this movie in the subtext, and I find it really fascinating.
Well, I go ahead, Jason. Go ahead.
I just like, you're right. There's so much subtext. You've got the dichotomy between the two women and him and the two women, because he's completely different people with each.
Yeah.
And then there's the storm chasing. There's the everything else going on around them. And just, wow. The story as a whole is perfect.
Yeah, and Helen Hunt, I love her character in this movie. She is charming as can be. I can totally tell why Bill Paxton fell in love with her.
Yeah.
Well, let me be honest here, too. They did a great job with this because the dynamic between them, storm chasers, firefighters, EMTs, cops, all of them, they're type A personalities. And I would say I don't think of myself as a type A personality. I can come across kind of, I can be very pushy. I can cuss. Y'all had not heard me cuss. I know every cuss word on the planet. If I'm really in a tense situation, and I mean, there's been times when I've been flying down the road at 40 miles an hour one night, and my headlights went out. I was in the fire truck, and all of a sudden it just went out just for no reason. And I turned to my son. I was like, "Get your dad on the phone and tell him the light truck." And and it's literally 40 miles an hour. I'm driving.
You're in trouble when Rosa busts out the curse words.
No, that's when I look for the that's when I look for the bunker, because of World War III is about to start.
Watcher, you're saying?
Yeah, so that's the whole point, is that these people are usually type A personalities. They clash early. They clash often. My husband's a fire chief. I'm the lead storm spotter. He's the chief, but if I'm wanting him to do something, he's like, I'm not going to do that way. We will go head to head. We will literally fighting on, and we have to make sure our radios are off, because I'll be like, listen here, I'm going to tell you right now, you need to do what I'm asking you to do, because I have the National Weather Service, and he'll be like, I'm the fire chief, and I don't have to listen to what you're saying, because I've got a truck that I've got to get down the road, and that happens because you've got type A personality. So they did a fantastic job of showing these personalities and how they interact.
Oh, well, that's one
that you
criticism I do want to level at the movie. There's a huge plot contrivance of they're like the radios just all happen to be on, and the other people hear all the arguing going on. That happens way too many times throughout the movie.
No, that absolutely does. I've had it happen to me.
No, but it happens like 3 or 4 times at the movie. You know.
No, it's very easy to do it if you key your mic wrong, and especially with those older mics, if you put them down. So they actually have a. Let me just.
No, but in the middle of a storm, they're probably like 20 feet away from the truck. It's storming out, and they're having that. Yet the other people can hear it crystal clear. There's no way the mics would pick up that audio. I'm sorry.
Well, I will say this because we are different depending on if you have your radio with you. If you're 20 feet away and the mic's in the truck, depending on how sheltered it is, we have had mics in the truck pick up audio. So I'm just telling you.
I get it in perfect conditions, yes, but it's still raining. It's still storming. Like, it's really loud out, you know.
I don't know. I'm paranoid now because I know that you can put that thing down. So it has a holder. So it's like this. So there's your mic right here. So you have your mic and here's the radio over here. And it's got the little button on the side. Well, if you put it down wrong and if it's in the holder wrong, it literally will depress that thing and you will actually have it on, which is called.
I get
it's terrible.
I get that. Having it happen once is fine, but it happens like 2 or 3 times throughout the movie. Like, it happens over and over and over again. Once is fine, but having it over is plot contrivance.
That up right away. They should have checked it right away and fixed it because that's very irritating for everyone else to hear you on the radio. Yes, I agree with you.
I do like the moment where they're having that argument and people are like, "Yep, this is a Tuesday. They're at it again."
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, the familiarity really does help this movie. Also, writers, if you ever need to learn how to introduce a bunch of characters really quickly, watch the opening of this movie. This movie does like a whole scene where like goes through the camp and each character gets like 2 seconds. But after that, you understand the characters perfectly, and then they give the names afterward. It's a masterclass in introducing a whole bunch of characters quickly.
Yes,
it is. It's very good at it. I love that because when they're going into the camp and literally you're getting set up, and we actually still have setups like that for a lot of our guys that are on the road. They'll go to a bucket, something like that, and they set up, they get their food, and they'll go out in the parking
Lethal
lot.
Nonsense has gotten the first 2 novels of Watch for the Damned.
Nice.
Who?
Lethal Nonsense. He's a buddy of mine.
I love you. You're awesome. Thank you. You're so awesome.
Beer sauce, champagne. It's Sunset Sarsaparilla. That's the drink of choice for tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, and I just randomly throw in ale and wine for no reason.
I mean, fair enough. What do you mean, Hood or Raven, that we're off topic? We've actually been kind of doing a pretty good job of
I was about to say, for this specific movie, for this specific topic,
in this part of the country,
we've stayed on topic for this whole thing. But ironically, you're right. This movie actually, it introduces you to the characters very well. And even when they introduce the bad guy, you know right away that he is the most annoying person in the room.
Well, and the part about it is okay, so I'm reviewing this today, and I know a person, and if you're watching this right now, no, it's not you. I'm not talking about you, but anyhow, because I'm assuming that they'll find me there. No, but there is a person that's almost exactly like that. And it turns out he's one of the sweetest guys you know. But when he gets behind the wheel, when he's chasing a storm, that's all he's about. There is nothing else.
Thank you, Nathaniel. Thank you so much. Nathaniel just gifted a membership. Just wanted to shout that out. Thank you, sir.
Okay, yeah. Awesome.
Oh, and before Rose goes on another thing, I just want to say, Lethal, you bought Rose's books. Have you bought mine, Lost Kingdom, on Barnes & Noble? Sorry.
You should have.
In this part of the country, this time of year. Can I see it? Yes. I was doing a steamed hams bit.
Oh my gosh. Also, I'm going to bring it up again because we got new people here. Might as well. The cow. The most unbelievable thing.
That became like one of the most iconic moments of the movie for some reason. Well,
dude, it really happened the other day. It actually happened. there was a video on, because I watch all the tornado videos, and we've had a pretty big year for tornadoes this year. There was an actual video of a cow. I don't know if I can find it or not. I think I bookmarked it. I'll look and see if I can find it. And literally everybody and their dog jumped into the thing. Cows, we've got cows. And it was literally as a cow. You can see it in the air.
I bet the storm chasing community, because like they know, like obviously the fans of Twister, to see it happen in real life, they might like people. I just can imagine it rip through the internet like wildfire.
Okay, I'm gonna actually look that up on YouTube right now.
Yeah, so you see cow Twister, like you have to put cow tornado and then put like 2026 or something like that. 2020, put 2025, 2026. See if it'll come up there, because it was literally, you could see the cow in the air. It was just insane.
Wait, whoa.
All right, so oh, come on. I hate to say that. Yeah, restream is being stupid, but yeah, Nathaniel, this is my novel. I did. It's kind of thing.
Okay.
Right now, Lost Kingdom.
I think I found it.
Did you really?
Oh no! All right, drop the link in the private chat. We'll watch it.
I will. Watching it right now to confirm it.
No, we can hear the audio. We can hear the audio, sir.
Oh, okay. So I will mute it and just.
Yeah. So, okay. All right, I'm going through my notes as well. I do love the comedy bits here. Like obviously the cow, another cow. Actually, I think it's the same one. The one that always kind of confused me is who are these people when you see them watch, like they're farming instruments, they're farmers. Like why are you reacting like that? That is so, like, I guarantee you the person who wrote that line has never actually been on a farm. That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lethal. Thank you, Buddy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it does. They do. In this video.
God. Send me the link, please. Send me the link. We're gonna have to watch this.
It's gonna appear in 48 seconds. You can't see it. It's not zoomed in super close, but you can clearly see it pick up a cow.
It's a cow.
It's a cow. It's a
Twister
cow.
in real life.
And we've seen some footage in the past where it will go through a farm, and it's like they're in the air and you can see like feet. It feels so bad for the animals, and at the same time you're like, oh, it's a cow in the air. It's just it's so weird. It's like it's such a surreal experience. But there is horror about it when you're talking about that monster movie mentality with it. When you're watching, if you can get online and you can actually watch these videos, the real life videos, as we've now been able to start really videotaping them. Back in the day, when we're talking 1996, people still didn't really have the ability to just turn on their phone. It was just starting to get to the point where you'd have a camera, you'd have a setup. There are video, it would usually be news stations or somebody would be doing it, but we didn't have the ability to just have everybody with a camera. Now we do, and we have done so.
Literally everybody has like a decent quality camera in their pocket now.
Yeah, so it's literally like a horror movie, and I don't watch horror movies as much. I watch tornado movies. And
all right, take care, Nathaniel. See you tomorrow.
Yeah. See you tomorrow, Nathaniel.
Thank you. But no, it's crazy because we watch these and they literally are like horror movies. They're up close and personal. The 2013 El Reno is one that I watch. Actually, it is like a horror flick. It is terrifying to me because I've known of the people, Samaras, that died. I didn't know him personally. I know people who knew him, and they were, great scientists. And there were other amateur chasers who died in that storm as well. It was one of the greatest tragedies we've had as storm chasers, to have that many storm chasers die in a thing. And it's like a horror movie to me because you're watching this thing turn, and it actually will make this turn in the middle of nowhere. And it was supposed to be going this way. Now it made this turn to the right, and it just comes across and kills people. And I'm like, it is like a horror movie. And so when you were talking about it being a monster, and I thought, no, it absolutely, it sounds like a monster. It acts like a monster, and it kills people like monsters. And to get ahead of it. Our job is to hunt it down, to stop it, and to get people in their house before it does damage.
Jason, I don't know what's going on, but you're blowing on the mic a little bit.
Yeah. No, I needed to breathe a little bit. Sorry about that.
Okay. Let's see here. I'm kind of going back to my notes here. I don't know, because like to me, obviously you're talking about like the weather stuff, because we all kind of view this movie differently. Me, I was looking at like the characters and the story, so that's kind of what I zeroed in on. But let's see who the Raven has to say. It's funny. I have a 5-year plan. At the end of my 5-year plan, I plan on moving to Tennessee, with not Tornado Alley, but Dixie Alley, which is worse.
Oh, Dixie, bad.
No, Jason, do not stop breathing. I order you to live, sir.
Okay, I will continue breathing. I was just trying to blow out the air pipes for my e-cig, but yeah, I mute myself while doing it.
But yeah, I really did find it interesting. Like, oh, she's a therapist. She's a sex therapist, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
No, she didn't marry you for your penis. Okay, she married you for more. Like there's actually some pretty good zingers in here. I gotta say.
Yeah, I mean, her lines are freaking comedy gold 90% of the time.
But I like her character because in so many other movies, it's so easy to write her character as like this like evil, like kind of like antagonistic type character, but she is the nicest, sweetest little thing, honestly. And she handled obviously, like, when she leaves, when she says goodbye, it is the most like she still cares for him, but she knows she has to let him. It is, God, this is what adults used to talk like.
Well,
I'm sure adults used to talk like this.
There's one of the points that I brought up. Is this. When the two of them fight, the ex-husband and ex-wife, when they fight, they actually sound like they used to be married. Like they know each other back to front. It's not just random things that they say. It actually sounds like they fought, and you feel it.
What's really funny is, according to the story, they're still technically married. Like, they're going through a divorce. It hasn't even been finalized yet. She hasn't even signed the paper. So, essentially, they just got to decide to just keep being married. It's as simple as that. There's no getting remarried. It's just, let's stop the divorce proceedings. That's probably what happens.
Yeah.
He was trying to get her to sign the papers so they could be divorced.
Yeah, to certify it.
Yeah, I do find it interesting. Like, they don't really say how long they've been apart. Like, the closest they have is, like, she's had the papers since December, and I'm assuming this is, like, summertime based upon the weather.
Months, basically.
What?
It would be about 6 months. So the assumption is something happens somewhere, that this thing happens. Whatever it is, it's big enough that they're separated, but it's not like they're angry at each other. She's been hoping that he'll come back.
Yeah.
And, has his therapist. Here's the thing about the therapist and why she's so important. She's the only normal person in this movie. She is the only normie.
She's the audience eyes. She's the audience eyes, if we're going to use the writing term.
Yes, she is the sex therapist, and she's still the only normie in this movie. And so she is the reference point. She is the person that anchors, so the viewer who doesn't know something about a tornado gets an explanation. But they wanted her to be interesting. She's not just a colorless girlfriend that when you leave, you're going to feel like, okay, good, she's gone. She has personality. She has this interesting job, you have, you wonder why they're together.
Like, you can see why he's with her. But I also love, from a writing standpoint, the two women. She's order. Helen Hunt's character is chaos. Like order and chaos. Like, they are very diametrically opposed. But given Bill Paxton's character, you can tell why he fell in love with her. Like, he wanted the stability. He's gonna become a weatherman. Kind of thing.
Well,
I mean, at the end of the movie, I highly doubt that. I mean, he just broke science.
Yeah, that's actually accurate, sir.
Yes, but here's the thing with Bill, with his character ends up being far more true to nowadays to our weathermen and our meteorologists. They do go out in the field now. I have a couple that I know personally that will get out in the field. They'll be driving to work or something. They'll turn on their camera. They will start chasing, and they are very good at it. They're very careful. I'm not going to say a name because I don't want to get in trouble on the air. But I know because we actually have a group chat. We have a Slack that we have for government, for the National Weather Service, and we have all of the meteorologists and everybody on there. And so I'm on there with them. And so they will literally start talking about what they're seeing, what they're doing, and they'll just take after it. That has changed for us. Before, you had to be in the office to look at the radars. That was the difference for his character. He had to be stable to be in there to look at it on a radar to visualize it so someone else can get their warning when he really wanted out there in the world experiencing it. And he's having to choose between warning other people. He's doing it for the right reasons. He wants to warn the public. This is coming your way. You need to know. We heavily rely on our local meteorologists to tell us what is happening. And then we have being in the field itself, the people who feed the information to the meteorologists. Storm spotting is still incredibly important. People think that, oh, well, they don't need them anymore now because we have all of these radars and we have all of these. We have to have storm spotters. If we don't have spotters, we don't see the base of the clouds. The base of the clouds, that's under radar. That's usually under the radar. Especially in our area, here's the curvature of the earth. Here it is right here. Here's the radar in Austin, or excuse me, in KGRK, which is in Temple, and here's the radar in Dallas, Texas. Here's the peak, and I'm right down here. I'm down here. There's nothing here. We can't see the base of the storm. Our spotters are the ones who get the information to tell the National Weather Service and to warn the people that are out there, and our meteorologists who get the word out and tell people who otherwise may not ever hear about it.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of an interesting little sub theme about this movie is there's a very man versus machine angle to it. Like Jonas's people has literally the best technology money can buy at the time, and millions of dollars are beaten by one man who knows how to look at tornadoes. Like you know, all the technology, and he's still trying to rely on this guy.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I'm sorry, but that's his ability to see and read the weather is actually kind of a thing, and not necessarily in the way it shows.
It's learned experience. He's done this for a while. You know, he knows what he's looking at. He's very observant. You know, you see this in any field where someone's been in it long enough and they're good enough at their job. You develop instincts. Like my mom told me the story. He was working at an ice packing plant. There used to be a guy who could just look at like a whole thing of ice and be able to tell you exactly how many bags there were in there just by looking at it, because he's been doing this so long that he knew just by glancing at it for like 2 seconds, like, all right, there's 568 bags in there, you know, something like that.
That's so cool.
Wow.
I'll show you good technology, Nick Gibson. I'm scared. I'm scared.
Next thing you know, he's showing you cold fusion, time machines, and oh yeah, the cloning device.
Philip Seymour Hoffman is a gem. Rest in peace, you beautiful bastard.
Yeah, Seymour Hoffman was fantastic. He inspired a whole generation of spotters because they all didn't want
food.
Yeah,
I require sustenance.
They didn't want necessarily, but they wanted to be. We all know somebody like that out in the field, and
you want like a hookup when you're driving. You just go. The suck zone. Sorry.
God, okay. Dude, okay, that line just made me stop for a good minute and laugh.
I know.
Well, that's another thing. Like, is they just throw out terms like every scene. Like, it's a cone of silence. Oh, we got sisters. We got a jumper. You know, like they throw like. By the way, are these actual real terms that storm chasers use? By the way, I want to ask you, Rosa.
Yes, actually, we're more. Depending on who you're working with, also we all have our own little jargon that we use, and we have we spread terms between us. Twister has become so iconic that we use those terms now. The real terms that we use, and the bear's cage. The bear's cage is, I believe, actually is a term that came up after this, and that's about that rim of dangling teeth that you see around these storms. That area of silence, you know. We have the ghost train. We talk about a ghost train coming in. It's actually the rear inflow winds that come in and just mow down everything in its path. And in fact, when writing Watch of the Damned, I have a scene where there's a tornado in Caballero, and they actually have the ghost train come through and tear up some stuff behind it, and a tornado that's ahead of it. And we talk about all of these terms, but the terms, we all have our own little group of terms that we use when we're with our people. And in fact, you were talking about Jonas having all this cool stuff. A fantastic guy. I love him. Reed Timmer. Reed Timmer reminds me so much of Jonas sometimes because he's got the best stuff. He's got an actual vehicle called the Dominator that it's built like a sort of like it has angles like a Tesla and everything like that, but it's designed to go drive into a storm, and he literally beats it to death with hail and other things. It gets, turned over and floated away. But some people have taken that vibe on, and literally they have the best technology that they can buy, and they're on the road. They're literally ripping along. Well, of course, they have a different setup because they don't have to worry about like a TV station with a meteorologist. They have great stuff, but they're not intent on just chasing something down the road. They're trying to keep up with it, and they're trying to be responsible. They don't want liability. You have somebody, like Reed Timmer. He's going to be very careful. He's going to be, very intense on making sure that his stuff stays in good shape. But he's also driving into a freaking tornado. He's taking millions of dollars and putting it right in the middle of a tornado. And we have a lot of our storm chasers.
There's a balance that has to be made of risk versus, patience.
What?
There's a balance that has to be had of risk. I couldn't come up with the second term, so I just said patience.
Yeah, risk
No.
versus reward. You have to be able
Yeah.
to balance it. Are you willing to take the risk? Is it worth it? Sometimes it is, and you won't know until afterwards that you made the wrong decision. And that's the point. There is no way to know ahead of time what this monster is going to do. You may make the wrong decision someday. Can you make the right decision most of the time? Can you actually say, I'm not going to go down a road? One of the biggest things we got a problem with right now, we have Google Earth, and your Google Earth is a fantastic tool. GPS is a fantastic tool, but sometimes it shows roads that aren't necessarily there. And you'll be going down a road and you have to say, okay, I've got to turn this way. It shows that I have a crossroad here. I'm going to go through. It's not there. You're in the middle of a sand pit, and it's not connecting up. You can die there. That's where you're going to die because you didn't make your turn first and go and make sure that you had a clear place. But there's no way to know. You can't scope everything. We're taking risks when we get out there, especially when we're trying to get ahead of a storm. And we want to make sure that we don't do it in a dangerous way. The biggest thing that's come up lately is the fact that people are getting wrecks. We've had a pile up the other day where we have people that are chasing the chaser. And that also shows up in Twister, where people are tagging along. They know that Reed Timmer, Ryan Hall's people are going to be out there. They know that they want to chase them because they're going to know where the storm is. Well, you can't do that. You have this entourage behind you that's going to get hurt. You can't have 14, 15 cars behind you. The first car may make it past it. That fifth or seventh car may not make it because that storm took a turn. So we can't pile up like that. And we not only have to worry about ourselves, we have to worry about the people that are following us and tell them you don't need to be doing that. If you're not a trained storm spotter, go get your training, go find out more, go work with the National Weather Service first, and then come join.
I imagine probably within the last 10 years or so, that's probably another thing that has really gotten bad is you got the YouTuber people, which was addressed in Twisters, but I think there's another sub level to that, which is the TikTokers. Like the storm people on TikTok, chasing the chasers. Because maybe if you're a YouTuber kind of doing it, you're another level. Then the TikToker people are kind of below that a little bit,
Well, and we'll say there's a demographic. A lot of the TikTokers are younger. They haven't gotten the experience yet, but they know that they like Reed Timmer, or they like Randy Denzer, or they like Ryan Hall. They want to go see what he's doing. It becomes sort of a celebrity thing, and you're like, I'm going to make it now. I'm going to get this great photo of a Twister. I just need to follow them. They know where they're going, and so then they get out after them, and they don't realize you've got 14 other people doing exactly the same thing. You're risking not only yourself, but them as well. They're having to pay attention to you instead of the storm. And so learning how to interact with other storm chasers, learning how to give space, learning the rules of the road and how to be polite, how to make sure that you are checking. Don't ever rip by. If you see that house get blown away and you see that there's maybe survivors in there, you really need to either call it in, get somebody to help. If you're intent on chasing that storm, call in and do you need help? Is there something you can do? Because one of the worst things you can do as a storm chaser is to ignore the people that are being affected by the storms. Yeah. And
I think that's another thing that Twisters. Yeah. This is a better film, but I think Twisters is a fine sequel. I think Twisters actually did a good job of showing the human side of a lot of these storms.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So Twister is more fun. It's a little more pulpy. Let's put it that way. They don't really. Somebody was caught right in the. They do worry about it, but the Twister, we're focused on those characters. Mm-hmm. One of the things that really bothered me, and this was when we got hit by a tornado. I've been actually had my community hit by a tornado 3 times. They're small ones. They came through, and we each had to respond and go do the surveys and everything else. But so the first one where I was at the hospital, there was a storm chaser, and I won't say who it was, but they were younger and they were so excited. It hit a barn or in a house. and they were like literally woohoo, and I didn't know there was like adrenaline running, but they're celebrating, and I'm thinking I may have just lost one of my neighbors. This may be a person I know that's dead because the storm hit. You have to be so careful that even while you're seeing something that's super freaky, be aware that families are going to be watching this later, and that may be the last moment of their loved one. If you're shouting and whooping it up, it's okay to go, oh my gosh, this did this thing. Be aware that this is the last moment of another human being. You're experiencing death, and that could be what and there's a big pushback on that when that happens. So we're always very careful. Are we saying the right things? When we see it, holy cow, that's amazing. But at the same time, we have to be aware there's human cost, there's human side.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me because like I was watching this is a bit of a non sequitur here, but I was like watching Pacific Rim, and one of the things is like the kaijus were like celebrities, and they're like this conversation of like oh, here's this kaiju. I have this tattoo. It was a really gnarly fight. It was a really gnarly beast. Then they realize tens of thousands of people died taking down that kaiju, and they're just like celebrating it like it's freaking Godzilla, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the thing is that you have to realize it's okay to say that we're excited by things, that we're involved with it, to feel that adrenaline rush. It is part of who we are, and dealing with death dealing issues is a very finite form of entertainment. Let me put it that way. As a person who's been a firefighter and an EMT and have been on scenes, especially I was at the West Texas disaster when it blew up. I was there. Actually, was there within 45 minutes, about an hour. I was on scene in the dark with people dying around me, and a mass casualty incident. There's a certain level of adrenaline. You cannot do this job if you don't want to be there. But wanting to be there is not the same thing as delighting in it. To be there is a fine level between going, woo, I'm alive. Let's save these people. Let's get out there. Let's get the information to the National Weather Service. Let's get a warning out, and saying, dude, look at that. They're dying. You know, literally that's so, you know, you can say it's cool, but you can't be happy that somebody else got hurt. And it is just a really fine balance with it. It's okay to be excited about it. It's okay to say I was there. When you've really been through it, the ones that have really been there, they're focused on the fact that yes, it's exciting, but they know there's a cost. And that's just about being younger and older, I think, really. Because my TikTokers and people, they're there to be excited. They're there because they're happy to be alive, and I'm really happy for them. But I know that as they become more experienced, if they really want to do this, they need to get in with those communities. They need to talk to people that are already doing it. They need to ask, hey, can I come along with you? If you do not want me there, how far do you want me back? How do you want me interacting with your group? That's really important because that makes all the difference. And that can be the difference between you being accepted by a group of storm chasers that's really there to do a good job, or that can be the difference between you becoming a casualty or causing a death of another storm chaser.
Or a liability.
Yeah. Because of liability.
Yeah, and I think that's just a classic old versus young thing that's been going on since the dawn of time. You know, the young want to do stuff. The older like, hey, I've been through this. You know, you're gonna get yourself killed. And like, oh, what are you saying about old man? And like, okay, maybe 6 times a group of people did that, and then they're fine. But it just takes that one time of somebody doing something stupid, and you have one person or a couple people die, and it changes everything.
Yeah, well, and that's exactly what happened with El Reno. It really changed the game. It was very sobering, and it's weird for me to go back and to watch Twister, and to then immediately the first thing I thought of was El Reno, and I thought of the Samaras and Tim Samaras and his son and his co-host, and being in that car, and it sticks with you, and so it's that part changed after seeing Twister and how much fun it was. There's sort of an innocence there, and Twisters actually does deal with that side of it more too, where this is a dangerous profession and you can't go into it with your eyes closed. You have to understand that, are you doing it for the right reasons? Are you doing it just because you want to get a photo and then you're going to sell it? That's important. It's interesting to get those great photos.
Here's what I'm worried about though. El Reno was in 2013. YouTube was barely a thing at that time.
Yes.
TikTok wouldn't exist for another 5 to 7 years.
Yeah.
Instagram, like the whole shorts thing, didn't exist.
Yeah.
The world of 2013 is totally different than the world of now. So what I'm worried about, I would say the situation's only gotten worse since then, with a lot of those people kind of coming in. I'm scared if there's another big El Reno storm and people start dying, it's gonna be like order of magnitude worse. Like, I think imagine a line of 14 cards of YouTuber, TikTokers, Instagram people who don't know what the F they're doing, following some famous person, and then something happens and you have 15, 20 people die in one incident. Do you know how bad of a tragedy that's going to be?
That actually started to happen the other day, and as I said, the problem is that you don't know when you're in the lead car. People are following you. You're going somewhere, and people want to know where you're headed, what you see. You don't know if the people behind you have been trained. If you don't know who they are, all you know is people are suddenly hot on your tail. They're tailgating you. You can't get away from them. If you have to slow down suddenly, they're going to push you right into somebody.
Yeah, I'm not blaming the famous person. I'm not blaming those people. I'm blaming the idiots that are following them who don't know what the heck they're doing.
But yeah, and they may not be idiots, but they need to learn more about it, and they need to understand that if you see somebody chasing, you need to pull back. You can get great shots if you're there for photography, set up in a big open field that's farther away. If you are there for the National Weather Service, if you're there to get the warnings out, then you're going to be letting them have the space. You're going to go to a different point so you can see the storm more clearly, so you can tell us which direction it's going. Just getting up under it for the thrill of getting under it, unless you have that Dorothy in the back of your pickup or something, and we have
unless your truck literally has a lever you can pull where two augers go down to aim, you know that scene from Twisters, that one.
Here's the thing: we actually have a Dorothy type thing now. We've got our little capsules that we have. In fact, that's how the Samaras died. They were actually trying to get their little contraption into the tornado, and we've now had to get those contraptions to park them directly in line to get them taken up. I got to watch one the other day.
They had to anchor them.
Yeah, we had egg drop. We had have drones now that we can drone drop it and take it out.
Imagine drones that really change things.
The drones are actually the game changer. And what I would encourage people to do is, if you're really wanting to get into it, is to learn how to get those drones done. Talk to your other storm chasers. If they've already got a team, that's great. But if you're working with other storm spotters, you going out as a trained and cleared, because you have to be cleared to get out there with these things, or you can cause chaos. Getting those up in the air, getting us a great angle would be fantastic. In fact, I'm looking at with my department about getting a drone so I can go ahead and actually get some better angles on some of these storms, because that would give us the ability to do so much more. And if you really want to help with that stuff, that would be the way to do it. You can get great shots. You don't have to be in the car right up under somebody. You just have to make sure you're cleared with the surrounding area, that you know where you're going, and you set up in a safe place, and then put those drones out there. Just make sure you get clearance from your locals.
Yeah. All right. So, Regal, I think this one might be for you, Rosa. Was Pennsylvania's #1 fan of the John DeBlanc classic Late for the Twister birthday party?
I have no idea.
I don't know what that is, but I know it's supposed to be very important. John DeBlanc Twister birthday party. I'm going to have you explain it to me, because I hope you understand I am older than dirt. So,
and yes, Lethal, I can confirm I am old.
Yes, he's old. Not as old as me, but he is old. No, I also
the thing is, Rosa's the youngest one here. She's like 28.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly. No, there's one thing that I do want to bring up. I saw it in my notes.
Uh-huh.
Okay, this is towards the end of the movie.
Uh-huh.
When they go in the barn and they see all those scythes and all the the farming equipment that is better left described as serial killer material.
Wait. I didn't mean to time this. I did not mean to time this. Holy crap. It's the 30th anniversary this month of Twister. Holy crap. I wasn't even trying. I got this from what the did I do?
Good job.
I just wanted to cover Twister and bring Rosa along.
Oh my God, we did it.
Yeah, 2026, 1996. I wasn't even thinking about that. I just wanted to talk about Twister because I like the movie and I wanted to bring. It was like, let's talk about Twister. Oh, I could bring Watcher of the End along.
Okay.
Now I need to know
Hold on. 1 hour, 10 minutes, 15.
Yes, I was literally about to tell you to do that.
Hour. 10
He's
minutes.
marking the time for shorts.
Awesome.
To be clear, Lethal Nonsense, I am 2 days older than Dirt, 3 days young. 2 days older than Dirt, 3 days younger than God.
Yeah. All right.
May 10th, 1996 was the official world premiere. Wow, I got it really close. Readout, just for the record, I wasn't even thinking about that. This is just a very, very happy accident. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
30th anniversary. Wow, we got it on the month at least.
Yeah, we got it on the month at least. All right, there we go.
Okay, now I see. Okay, good luck to me. Okay, so I actually looked it up. You're talking about the director. It sounded like Jean LeBlanc, and I'm like, who's Jean LeBlanc?
Is he the brother of Matt LeBlanc?
It's actually John DeBont. it's
Okay.
with Twister. That's not John DeBont. Yes, I know. I thought you were talking about Mr. LeBlanc, and I'm like, don't know who that is.
How you doing?
I know nothing. I am nothing. Moving on. Oh,
Jason, just don't cut yourself any shorter because you don't have any legs.
Oh, this is true.
Yo, that's me. I'm getting cut short for really.
No, it's true. Jason does not have no legs.
Yeah, no, I stand 5'2" total. So
also, I needed to see was author Ari Snow post who's talking about Twister, and now I'm here because Twister is one of the singer texts of why Redoubt is the way he is. Oh, nice.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, John DeBont actually, I believe, does the score for Twister. And it's a fantastic twist. It's actually a fantastic score. And not only that, but the way they wove in all of the different songs and stuff into the movie itself, it's just so classic. And listening to it's like jumping into a car and going back to the 90s again. It's fantastic. But
it's good.
So it's perfect.
The fact that they didn't include Riders on the Storm, I am mad.
They should have.
That's like the one song that was like perfect.
Riders on the Storm.
And can I just say, the one weird thing that always caught me off guard is at the movie theater, they're playing The Shining. Like, I don't get how that ties in with the theme. I thought if I were directing it, I would have them even playing Wizard of Oz. Maybe they couldn't get the rights to that movie.
Yeah, rights to everything. So even if you're just mentioning it because it shows up on the if it's not just a casual, you have to actually have rights to it, as far as I know, if you're doing a visual of any kind.
Thank you, Lethal Nonsense. So, Rosa, I don't know if you heard about this, but the entirety of Prim is closing down.
The what?
Prim in Las Vegas.
What?
Yeah, I mean they've kind of haven't really been making much money for years.
No.
Here's what I wonder: where is the Bonnie and Clyde car going to go? Because that's something that's not going to disappear. That is something that that somebody's going to buy because they want to display it. That is an important historical relic.
There's a Bonnie and Clyde museum in Texas, actually, and so it may go there.
Sure. Maybe it might go to Henry Ford, here in Michigan, because they have all these cars. Like, because I don't know if you knew, but we have Kennedy's car. The car.
Yeah, it's all in the Ford Museum. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it multiple times. I've literally been like 2 or 3 feet away from the car.
Oh my God.
So they're not going to let you drive away with it?
I've sat in Rosa Parks' bus seat. I have seen the chair that Lincoln got shot in.
That is so cool.
Also hitting up Good Springs, but I have to get to Prim. Yeah, you have to because that's closing. So Rosa, Good Springs is an actual town in New Vegas. I mean, in Vegas. Sorry.
Yes, in Vegas. Yes.
Where is the Bonnie and Clyde Museum in Texas?
It should be by the town they were killed in.
That's
actually.
Let me look it up real quick because I cannot.
I mean, I'm from Texas. I know it's there, but I've never been there.
Hopefully, the car gets an appropriate home, not locked away from public eyes. Yeah.
Oh
yeah. There's a lot of things that are just hidden away in private collections that we never see.
Yeah. You know what should be hidden away in a private collection?
What?
The Hope Diamond.
Well, yeah, because you don't want somebody touching it.
All right. I'm sorry. I have to say this. It belongs in a museum. It had to be said.
No, the Hope Diamond does not deserve to be a museum because you're just setting it up.
No, the Bonnie and Clyde car. The Bonnie and Clyde.
Oh, the Bonnie and Clyde car. Yes, for sure.
But yeah, I could maybe see the Henry Ford going for it because I think it is a Ford. Like, because no, John Dillinger was the one who liked who liked Fords. Because it was John Dillinger who famously wrote the letter to Henry Ford thanking him for making something. I'm sorry, I love John Dillinger. I love the whole story of John Dillinger.
Yeah, it would actually it is the Texas Ranger Hall of Fame Museum in Waco that has the Bonnie and Clyde exhibit that's like all about, because the Texas Rangers helped bring them down. So there's an exhibit there.
What is in the Pinkertons that did that though?
No, the Texas Rangers were involved too.
Okay. Bonnie and Clyde was killed in Louisiana. Gibbsland, Louisiana is the nearest town to the site of Bonnie and Clyde death site.
Yeah, that's where they. Yeah, this strong exhibits. This is from Grok, so I'll just read it off. Strong exhibits on the Rangers who took them down, led by Frank Hammer, who is a very famous Texas Ranger, displayed the death guns, Clyde's watch, and other artifacts from the posse and the gangs. And then they also have, they do have the Ambush Museum in Gibbsland, Louisiana, where they bought their last meal before the 1938 ambush by law enforcement that included Texas Rangers. So that's the thing, is the Texas Rangers were involved. So that's
I think it was mostly led by the Pinkertons.
All right, I've got it.
Go ahead.
Okay. The car Bonnie and Clyde were killed in was a 1934 Ford Model 40B.
Ooh.
So okay, so it's
deluxe.
oh yeah.
Fordor. 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 You know, sedan.
Ordo.
All right, so it was the Texas Rangers. I'm probably thinking of something else with the Pinkertons then.
Yeah, Pinkertons have done a lot. I mean, they probably were called in at one point if there was a bank or something like that was hit. Pinkertons frequently did this private security.
RDR2, yeah. You know the Pinkertons are still around, right?
Yeah.
In fact, they were famously in the news, I think, a few years ago, where I think it was like Nintendo hired the Pinkertons to track down somebody who had like legally purchased Nintendo dev kits because of like a salvage auction or something. It's a whole court case. I've been following it.
Yeah, they're still around. They're still. In fact, they're a very big agency, and y'all also know that I'm actually run a private investigative firm that I have in my family. That's
so fun fact. I actually once worked for once worked for the company that owns the Pinkertons.
Really?
The Pinkertons were eventually bought out by a company called Securitas. Okay?
Yes.
And I have worked for Securitas. I've worked security at a building. So you could, if you want to use some leaps and logic, you could say, I was once a Pinkerton.
Right.
You could extrapolate that. Yeah.
I worked at the company that owns the Pinkertons. That's the only thing I can 100% factually say. But yeah, just side that like we talk about Pinkertons.
But
I once worked for it,
if you stretched it enough, I mean, since they own the Pinkertons, technically you're a Pinkerton. I'm just saying.
I mean, throughout history, the Pinkertons have done a lot of stuff. The Pinkertons were kind of the forerunners of the FBI. Like the FBI was kind of based off of like a lot of the Pinkerton tactics.
Yeah.
They did a lot of union busting in the 20s. But yeah, mostly PIs, security work, guard work.
Yep.
Unsubscribed. No.
Ow.
If you want to learn more about the Pinkertons, go back and read A Cowboy Detective. And it's actually written by a gentleman who worked for the Pinkertons. And it's a great, was written by him in the 1800s. So it's a great story to read if you're interested in that kind of stuff. And in fact, that's where a lot of our company logos and things like that talk about A Cowboy Detective, because we actually have a Cowboy Detective as our theme for my law enforcement, for my private investigative firm.
Yeah.
Is that you, John Wayne?
Oh God, no! I'm just right. I'm hitting you with a hammer, over and over again.
Oh God! You're lucky the hammer is just slightly out of reach, and I don't feel like grabbing it.
That's.
But yeah, let's see here. All right, I'm just gonna look at my notes. Oh, thank you for the follow, Readout. Let me just kind of follow you back here real quick.
No, Readout's my homeboy. I love you, Readout. I need to play with
nice.
Channel again. I
do love the ant here. I I
Oh,
love
yeah.
you, even if you're a former Pinkerton, Nick. Is that being added to the lore now that Nick is a former Pinkerton? Is that just
Yeah.
going to be added?
Apparently,
to
that
Things
is
Press
part of the
lore?
lore. That
It's
is a
part
part
of
of
our-
the lore. It's a part of the lore now. You can't avoid it.
God. I hate you guys. I hate you.
No, you don't. You love us deeply.
Yes, yes, yes. Sorry. Go ahead, Rosa.
I said you love us.
Yes, yes.
God,
But I
yeah.
cannot explain why I fell in love with Twister beyond that movie, being on a loop in the house when I was very young. Twister had just been a part of my life.
Yeah.
You ain't even follow me back on my new account, Nick. Link me to the new account and I'll follow it. There's your answer.
There. No, what is it? This movie, it actually is very wholesome, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not super cussy. Even though there's a sex therapist in it, she's actually one of the nicest and most wholesome thing. And she's and I think that's the vibe, is actually that they all get along. It really does have an air of innocence about it.
There's a maturity to it too. Like,
Yeah.
people act like adults in this film, which nowadays is a very rare thing to see in media.
Yeah.
Because lesser writers would have farmed some of the more relationship stuff for more drama. Like, they would have made Melissa a lot worse of a character, but they actually made her kind of one of the best characters in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah. It's ironic. She's actually one of the best characters. She's very level-headed.
Mhm.
She's not being judgmental on her fiance when she realizes he still loves the woman he was once married to.
And
Yeah,
she
because
walk away.
she's-
That is
she's
important.
like, yeah, like, I mean, the turning point is when she experiences the damage head on, and I love when she's talking to like the preacher guy, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that was nothing. That was like the backdraft. That was like, we got like, he's probably downplaying it, but there's some truth to it. You can just see the look on her eyes, like that was nothing to you guys, and you see the scene, and the scene itself is legit scary.
Yeah, just everything was destroyed that it just went past, and the guy's like,
And that was like a light brushing,
yeah, he's like, that's just Tuesday. We're fine.
Actually, and this is a real phenomenon. It happens in, like I said, in first responder communities, especially. You get to where you sometimes don't realize how dangerous what you're doing really is, and other people come in to it, and you're like, oh, that's nothing. You'll be telling a story at the table. Like, there's EMTs famously want to tell terrible stories at the table. We found this body, and dude, he was really gone. And then you start describing it, and then there's like the one normie that's at the table that doesn't have a job in EMT or fire or whatever. They're like a clerk at the bank, and they just turn green because you're just saying the most horrible things, and you have to remind yourself, this is not normal. That's Melissa is normal. She understands how bad it is. She understands how chaotic storms are. And she realizes the reason we love Melissa in this movie is because she realizes that Bill Paxton his character is never going to be normal. He craves this. He is going to be a person that is going to continuously be going back to this in his mind if he does not go ahead and do it. And in fact, we deal with this.
How easily he got lured back in, like how easly it was for him.
Well,
Yeah.
he literally walked away from that because he had a break, and he felt like he couldn't deal with it because of Helen Hunt's character being this, very wild woman. She's out there, she's building these things, she's throwing them up in the air, and she represents his past, a past that's wild and woolly and dangerous. And he wants to move forward into this being a respectable man who is known around the nation as a guy who is putting out these warnings and taking care of a community. But he has to make a choice between being on the ground or being on the pedestal. And he's having to choose. And the pedestal actually is that normative life. It's this little bubble over here that's safe because people like Helen Hunt's character are out there actually dealing with the storm. But you can't be normal. That person cannot be a normal person. You can't live your life knowing how dangerous it is. After my husband's accident, he was thrown 30 feet. You remember this, Nick? 30 feet from a fire truck after it rolled. He nearly died. He had 27 broken bones. if I had been a normie, I couldn't have handled that scene. If I was a normie right now, I wouldn't be able to handle him going back out on fires and working, because I wouldn't be able to handle that type of fear. When we're living in a world that's sheltered and safe, we have to have that level of fear where we don't go there. We don't go into the fire. We don't drive our car 60 miles an hour on a dirt road. We don't do things that are going to get us killed. And we need people like that. We need people that have a normative idea. They're the ones that make sure that kids don't go out on the road and stuff like that. But we also need the people that are crazy. We need the people that are willing to jump into the way to go drive towards the tornado to find out what it's doing, to try to get better information so we can save.
Both those mentalities are needed.
Yeah, there comes a point where you realize you are one of those people and you're never going to be the same. And it's me. So here I have, actually, while I've been talking to you, I've been checking the radar, because making sure that storm out here, we have a little bit of a chance of having one. And I just had a stroke, and a lot of people know that I'm going through that, but I'm still doing the storm spotting because I'm able to do it because I've got a great group of people, a team that actually works with me. And I've chosen I can't walk away from this. I can't walk away from being a storm spotter. It's always going to be in my blood. If I can hobble to the door, I'm going to open up the door and call in a report. I'm going to go outside and look at the storm instead of hiding from it, because that's what I do. And so it's really hard to change who we are as human beings. Once you get that adrenaline junkie in you, you have to have people who understand and love you the way you are. And that's what Melissa does for Bill Paxton.
Once you go Twister, you'll know no blister.
Oh, for the love of... All right. I'm going to be right back. I got to go check on something.
All right, I need to read out a comment here. I really wish Bill Paxton had the opportunity to have more leading roles. He was best known as a character actor in supporting roles like Hudson and Aliens, but Twister proved he could be a leading man.
Yeah.
Really lost a great acting talent when he died in 2016.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Bill Paxton is like one of the very few people who had the triple crown of being killed by a Terminator, Alien, and a Predator. I think he's like one of maybe two people. I know he's one of them. I think there might be like another person.
Well, now I cannot let Bill Paxton go without saying the greatest film he ever did, which is the music video for Fish Heads by Barnes and Barnes.
By the way, he's the only actor. I just looked it up. He is the only actor to have actually achieved that, by the way.
Oh, very good. Yes. But yes, he's also in Fish Heads with Barnes and Barnes. And if you haven't ever heard Fish Heads, you need to go listen to it now. Put in the word Fish Heads. Original music video. Go watch it. You will be horrified and amazed. It's a great video. It really is.
The only other actor Lance Henriksen. It's Bill Paxton and Lance Henriksen who had the Triple Crown.
Yeah.
Yeah. How cool is that? Yeah, Bill Paxton was in a lot of stuff. Like, Bill Paxton's the one that's like, game over, man, game over. What are we going to effing do? That one.
Yeah, really.
That one, of course, that one.
I always liked Bill Paxton. He kind of had this, like, easy everyman ability to him.
Yeah.
But there's kind of like this quiet confidence with a lot of his characters that I always really enjoyed.
He is.
I don't know. And another thing is what really sucks is Hoda Raven says he views this film differently after he actually got to meet Helen Hunt.
Really?
And he didn't have a good experience. Like, I really like Helen Hunt in this film. She is very charming. Like, she had a really great run in the 90s. In the 2000s, she kind of petered out a little bit. But in the 90s, she was on fire.
Well, that's the downside of being an actress, is that usually you're going to run out of roles. That you represent something for that age group, whatever it is you're in. If you're supposed to be the hot girl next door, it's really hard to keep that up when you're 50 years old. You have to age into another group, and that's not something that a lot of them do.
That's why you see a lot of actresses in between 34 and 40. They kind of disappear, but they kind of reappear in like 40, 45 once they can get the mom roles. And then from the mom roles, they graduate to the grandma roles or whatever.
From the
but you don't really see a lot of actresses between 34 and like 40, I would say.
Well, yeah, because they just sort of disappear out of there. And I think that was, for her, it's actually aging into another role is the hard part. A lot of them also, that's when they decide they want to go ahead. They have their kids, and they're like, I really don't want them growing up in this environment. This is a hard business. I've made my money. I can go off and I can live my life. And there comes a certain point where you go, hey, do I really want to still keep doing this? Grinding on the acting. When you have the acting bug, it's kind of like being a storm chaser. You want to do that. It's in your blood. You can't stop. But it's really hard if you're selling yourself as a film star and it's based on the personality and the way you look when you're 25 to 30 years old. It's really hard to sell that when you're 55.
Well, see,
I don't know. Jennifer Connelly still looks good for her age. She looks Omo. And like Marissa Tomei. Oof.
Oh, yeah. Of course,
She can bake me cookies anytime.
Look,
yeah, but then
those are the people that are actually stealing somebody's soul and consuming it. I'm not complaining about it. Continue.
What were you saying?
Oh, who, me?
Yeah,
No.
you're talking.
Yeah, no, just the fact that it's one of those things that when you have those roles, the ones that are really hot, still hot, first of all, it is a job. It's one of those things that they do and they work at it regularly. And the second thing is that you have to go find the roles for the hot older woman. Well, they can still be hot and people can love the way they look, but is there actually a role for that in a movie? And that's the thing. It's really usually not there. Movies are made for a certain demographic. It's usually a 30 and under right now, especially. It used to be, it was that the movies, they were created for date night. That was the point. You would go out on your date. You would go to a movie. That's what you did. And before you had the internet, had Tinder and everything else, people actually went out and they would go to each other. They would find each other and they would say, do you want to go on a date? And you had to wait around to see if somebody wanted to go on a date with you or not. Usually,
like the cute girl from work. You ask her out to go. Like for example, my sister and her husband.
Yeah.
Their first date was going to see Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yeah, because it's a safe environment. You're with a bunch of people.
Yeah, he asked her out to go see that movie.
Yeah, yeah. So in this case, that demographic is still a younger,
lethal.
And it's changing now because a lot of times movies are so expensive. If you're really trying to date somebody, you're having to pony up all that money, and then in the the dating world, it's like, oh, you took her to a movie now. Well, depending, some of these gold diggers, they won't accept a movie as a first date, So don't. If a girl wants to go to a movie with you, then don't bother.
Yeah.
Let's just say there's a reason why I kind of have a rule that if I go on a date and we go to dinner, it is mandatory first date is Dutch, where we both pay for a meal. And I have had women just freak the frick out on me on that because I view that as a litmus test. If you're not okay with going Dutch, then you're not for me. You can give whatever reason you want about classy, U.S. No. There are so many gold diggers out there. Women take advantage of men.
Yeah.
That a going Dutch where we each pay for our own meal. There are no expectations. There's no, I spent all this money on a meal. Why aren't you giving me any nookie? No, that takes all that out of the equation. We're just here to pay for our own meal, enjoy each other's company, and then later on, if we're dating, sure, I'll treat my woman, or something.
Actually is almost easier because coffee date is literally, hey, let's go have a coffee, we'll go Dutch that way.
That's the one exception. That is the one exception.
Yeah.
If I'm going to Starbucks or like a coffee date, sure, because paying for both the coffees is still less than the price of one meal. I'll do that just because it's so cheap.
Well, I actually think that's a great way to meet people is actually the coffee date. And now they're all saying, oh, you can't do that now. That's not big enough. Literally, you're saying, hey, just go out with me. Just talk with me for a little bit. You can pay for your own if you want to, or I'll pick it up. And
the problem is a lot of guys are afraid to approach women because, what's the worst thing you do? Say no, and you see all these like videos of women shaming men for having the gall to ask her out, kind of thing. So, sorry.
Well, that's actually it's a plague upon society as a whole.
And lethal. The problem with dating international is there's some good women. But a lot of the international women are running scams on men.
Absolutely.
Are there good women internationally? But that's a whole other set of problems.
We've actually investigated some of those, and they are a scam, and they can be very dangerous. So
coffee or chicken wings and fries, like Ficha said, we don't go on dates.
Honestly,
that's fair.
Thing where people if you want to date somebody, wear a flower in your hair on the right side or something like that. And then that way the guy will know, put a flower on your, a flower in your pocket or something like that.
Here's the thing though. This is the one thing where I will concede to women where they need to meet a guy in public first
Yes.
to get like the vibe. And I totally understand that, and I
Yeah.
totally get that. That's why coffee dates actually work really well, because they're a low risk, low investment. The guy can buy the coffees or whatever. Even me, the cheap ass, I'll do that just because, it's whatever. But you get to meet in person, kind of thing. You're in a, something goes wrong, you're fine. So like, but I will concede, like, yeah, women want to meet a guy in person before anything else. Like, I totally understand that. That is perfectly understandable, like 100% reasonable.
Yeah, I think that's why the coffee date actually is important, because you can meet somebody in person. It's just, hey, let's just meet for coffee. It'll be cool, and you just talk to each other.
I mean, oftentimes, some things that I've done in the past is I've done dates where we just like walk around a mall and just kind of talk, kind of walk around a mall, hang out, talk, or I've met at flea markets, kind of going there, kind of thing, or going for a walk in a park. Sometimes it's just walking around somewhere in a public area and just looking at stuff in a mall and just talking about stuff. I've had mall dates before, so it's like,
You're sure you're not starting a date with flamethrowers and rocket launchers? That's always fun.
I mean, if a guy takes the woman to the range on that first date, you are a special kind of crazy, and I salute you, sir. Depends. I may have gotten lucky back in the day, but Easter woman, in my experience, are way better than the conceited TikTok brain women. Yeah, you can't go wrong with coffee, no matter what the doctor says. Well, here's the thing that I like. I'm not a coffee drinker, but you know what I get at Starbucks? I get a hot chocolate. It's the same, it doesn't matter. I'm drinking a hot chocolate. I'm still drinking a drink. It's fine.
That's fine. You don't have to drink it.
No. You can drink Sunset Sarsaparilla.
That's right.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do love the ant character in this. So where'd you get all the beef? Do you see the cows? What cows? Exactly.
Yeah, I love her character. She's all getting hit by a hurricane or a tornado, recovering, being let out of the residence, completely destroyed. Everything is gone. And she's like, I'll just drive myself to the hospital. You guys don't have to worry about it. Everybody's looking around at each other like, this bitch is crazy.
Yeah, the true MVP. Bruh, if a woman wanted to go on a range date, put a ring on it. Yeah, that's the thing. If you ask a woman on a range date and she agrees,
Yeah.
the first thing you're going after that range is a local chapel.
That's right.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, some of those characters were really unutilized. Like the preacher got some good lines in.
Yeah.
The other woman there, like she did almost nothing. Like she said a few things, but like she almost contributed nothing. It was weird.
Well, no, I think I remember too. Also, that these movies will start out and you'll actually have these characters written in, and then they go, you know what, we're hitting the 2.5 hour mark. You've got to cut it down, and so you end up with the character. You try to get them some time on screen, but then they may get only one line when they had 10, and so that's just where you're doing a compressed storyline, and it's really hard to get those characters in there the way that they may have originally been written.
Yeah,
I will say I'm kind of sad to where there should have been a moment where, like, because in the beginning it's like, oh, welcome back, I'm not back. Someone should have like put like somewhere like 2/3 of the way through the movie should have like tapped on the shoulder, says, it's good to have you back. He's like, I'm not back, and then he just stops himself.
Didn't realize he's back.
Yeah, he's like, I'm back. God damn it. Yeah, that should have been a thing.
Well, it's implied. I think it's they want you to, because halfway through, if you'd said that, you're taking that tension away. Is he really back? Well,
the moment they do it is the breakup with the girl, where it's like, she's like, oh, you can come with me or you can go with them. I mean, it's not really that way they say it, but that's like the subtext of the scene. And like, hey, you coming?
Yeah.
And then he finally does go with them. And that's kind of like that's his jumping into the abyss moment where he's fully in.
Yeah, he understands.
Well, I mean, never stare into the abyss because the abyss stares back. I mean, this movie's gay.
Well, you can always jump in closing your eyes. That's fine. All right. Readout says, They filmed in Wakita, Oklahoma, intentionally because the town was very happy. A movie production team was going to demolish derelict buildings in town. The destruction of Wakita was so visually effective, it actually alarmed neighboring communities who thought the town had actually become hit by a tornado.
Yes.
Yeah, I really like that scene because I feel like at that point in the movie, they needed a reminder of why they were doing. Like, that's why you kind of had like that third act reminder of you're doing this to give people a warning. Because I feel like the film had kind of like walked away from that a little bit. It kind of like basically that's like the recentering of the plot of they're doing all this stuff like it's to make Dorothy fly. Like the whole reason they're doing it was to make Dorothy fly, but in reality, Dorothy flying is a means to an end. It's getting data for the warnings, and so they hit literally close to home. And I actually do like as she's driving in, you see that one family that looks a lot like hers. I thought that was a really nice visual parallel. And then at the end, after that tornado, you see a different family, but ones that look like hers, walk out of it. I thought that was nice. And then Bill Paxton said they spared. Please, Jason, give me a sec. They spared the house. I thought it was a nice little kind of climactic bow on it.
That is good, but it's that ending scene that I have one question.
Oh no!
I even put it in the list of number responses I have.
Oh really?
Yeah. Okay. How did the horses survive? Explain this to me.
That's actually a very good question.
How? Why?
Because remember, they said it was an F5. It was a mile wide. They literally were in the center of the storm.
And somehow,
there's no way those horses were not involved in that tornado.
And somehow, these two horses at the end scene just come trundling up like nothing ever happened. Like,
I mean, to be fair, it's still more believable than somehow Palpatine returning. Sorry, I'm sorry. I had to do it. I had to do the joke. I had to. Also, mark the time, please.
Now, I will.
Mark the time, please.
I am.
Okay.
And I do actually have horses, and I have horses. I have donkeys, and when we have storms, now if they're in a barn and they can get out, they will run. They do not stay where that you can feel the pressure coming. And animals have an innate sense. They actually know when the storm is coming. I've watched my horse Ranger just like start bucking and running when something's out there, and he will go around.
Your horse is a Texas Ranger?
Yes, my horse is named Ranger. Yes.
Trotting Texas Ranger.
That's right. He's like just like this thing says. And let me know.
Your horses are harder than making this film.
That's right.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so they actually will know there's something coming, and they will go running for we call it the bottoms out here. There's like a ravine, and they will run into the ravines to hide themselves. And so if they can get away from it, they will go as far as they can, and they will absolutely run out there, and they'll come on back up. And I think also it's the fact that people have a tendency the horses are there, I guess, sort of like as a nod that something survived. But also people are really sensitive about horses. If a horse dies in a film, it's like having a dog die. That would literally
I mean, it's any animal. That's like the entire plot of John Wick hinges upon shooting a dog. That is how much people revere animals. The fact that they killed a puppy justifies murdering tens of hundreds of people. Like
yes.
I love John Wick, but when you really boil it down, it is ridiculous.
No, it is not. I own a dog, so I know how it.
No.
I mean, if somebody murdered charcoal, I would murder entire village. So
That's right.
I believe that. All right, guys, I'm gonna have to. I hate to say it. I should have mentioned it at the start of the stream. I got some stuff going on tonight.
All right, Rosa, we got about 15 minutes. Jason, can you hang on another 15 minutes? Rosa, can you hang on another 15 minutes?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna have to cut out at 8. But
yes, I can hang out for.
That's fine because I try to get at least 2 hours. We're really close to that. If we have to cut it now, it's fine with that. But
no, we don't. We can put it 8. But I'm gonna bow out at 8.
All right. I will say though, I actually do have to give thanks to both Rosa and Jason this is the first time we made it like pretty much almost the entire stream. We stayed on topic, so
Yeah, I was gonna say that at some point.
hats off to the co-host. We actually stayed on topic this time.
That's right. And the date part was actually about movies, so it's okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Now here's the thing. We also managed to avoid the Star Wars black hole for once.
That's absolutely right. We did not go down.
I
it.
mean, the Palpatine return jokes that had to be said. Like,
Yeah, that
No,
was fun.
no, that had to be said.
oh
The
gosh.
two horses surviving makes way more sense than Palpatine survives.
If you guys are having a good time, please give us a like. And then Lethal Nonsense says, "All right, Snow is a Texan, right? If so, may I ask which reason? I'm West Texer, born and raised, unfortunately."
Really? No, are you born and raised out there in West Texas?
Yeah, what region are you from? He's asking.
I'm Central Texas. Actually, I'm east of Waco, so I'm out there. We still have the open plains, but we've also got like East Texas starts on the backside of my property. So, I'm out where I can actually see about 15 miles. It's enough of still an open area that I'm actually able to see down to the road. I can see when my husband's coming, and it's like 2 miles away, and his car is coming towards me. So we still have the ability to see that far. And I'm actually up on a ridge, so you know the same thing because you're out there in West Texas. You can see for miles.
Well,
And-
you both are in that region. Unfortunately, I'm from the Gulf Coast.
Oh, dude, you get the.
I'm from Corpus.
You're from-
Jason, I'm about to make you very mad. I know I said we were covering Supergirl next week, but I think next week on the Frenzy we're gonna just dive right into the Star Wars black hole. Like we're gonna do an entire stream about the Star Wars black hole and whatnot. I think it's time.
Oh, fine.
Fine.
So Lethal Nonsense, next week we are doing a full episode about how much Star Wars has failed, what we love.
Yeah, what we love. How much
I'm not much of
failed.
a car person. I am a train person. But
I love
Twister
trains.
got me interested because for having an ensemble of cool looking movie cars, for ragtag arrangement of Bill and Joe's team, the sleekback vehicles Jonas team, and none of them are anything particularly fancy, just well shot and are now associated with storm chasing. Oh, okay.
Was that?
Yes,
I can't see because I didn't know if it was Redot who said he liked trains.
yes. He
Funny.
likes trains.
Trains too. I knew it was Redot when he said trains. I was like, oh, I love trains.
Yeah. Let's see here. Cars of. All right, so I got a wiki article on Twister. I'm just gonna kind of read it out. All right. So Bill Paxton drives a 1995 Dodge Ram. Helen Hunt. Sorry, what, Rosa?
I had a Dodge. I actually had we've had several Dodges for our fire trucks, and yes, they are epic. There is no
If
other.
you do a stream about Star Wars, I'll join voice chat. JK. Yes.
Yay.
I mean, if you want to come on the stream, you're welcome to. I can send you the link next week.
Yeah,
for sure. All right. So Helen Hunt's character drives a 1981 Jeep pickup. Let's see here. Dusty's is a 1985 GMC Vandura. The Preacher drives a 1983 Ford LTD Country Squire.
Yeah.
And there's a 2021 Ram TRX. What the heck is that doing here? It's probably from the new movie.
The new movie, yeah.
I'm about to say the new movie. I'll believe it,
Yeah.
but not the old 1990s movie. There's no way.
I'm out of town until the 22nd. That's fine. All right, we'll see you next week then. Briefly, I want to talk about the second movie, real quick to kind of just cap out this. I thought it was fine. In the beginning, when they bring out Dorothy and like the guy taps and says, "This is proven technology," like that kind of made me feel good inside. That made me. I will say the biggest missed opportunity. A week from today, so it will be the 22nd. We'll be doing that one.
Yep. We're gonna have to do one on the black hole.
Yeah.
With just the best of luck, Rose. We may not come out.
Oh, Jason, sorry, I need to like kind of get this thing. But in the sequel, you have like this one woman who's like she's like the daughter of somebody,
Yeah.
and like she goes back home and like sees her mother. Why didn't it make the mother Helen Hunt? Like it would seem so easy to be like, Bill Paxton's character died storm chasing. That's why Helen Hunt's character quit storm chasing, as she doesn't want her daughter to do it, but the daughter does it because it's in her blood. Like that is so easy storytelling. It's good storytelling at that.
Yeah.
And have that whole sequence be, have it be Helen Hunt's character, have a picture from the original movie. Like seriously, how hard would that have been?
I don't know why they didn't do that.
That would have been stupid easy to do, but they didn't do it. Cause they dumb.
I enjoyed Twisters. It's much slower pace. Glenn Powell is a stand of the movie with Brendan Paris. Like, man, yeah. I think it did a really good job of like updating it to like modern times. Cause like you had like the YouTuber people who I actually really like that they did not make them the villains. The villains was actually like the hippie people that she originally joined. I actually like how they flipped it a little bit.
Yeah, they
Wait. They made the hippies the bad guys? Good.
No, it actually, it's the people that I know that I didn't get to go see it. The people that I know who went to see it, they're storm chasers. We're always so iffy now. We've been burned so much by remakes that people are very concerned about it. They just don't want to have their hearts broken. They did a great job making an homage. They didn't make it real super preachy. They didn't make it about, we can't do these things anymore, or people were bad. They didn't vilify anything. They just had a great time making an homage to this movie and updating it some. I don't think it will ever reach that level of the first one because it just can't. Twister is in its own right. It's iconic. It's everything that I said. The dudes that I learned from, and I say these men, my hat's off to them. The respect I've got for these guys who taught me the ropes. Rob LaFoy, Dewey LaFoy was his dad. But back when they had the storm chases, all they had were radios. They didn't even have the internet and to be able to go on and do everything on Storm Spider Network. They literally only had the radio. They weren't able to call each other on the cell phone again. And so at least, we had, even in the time where we have Bill Paxton and them, we're having at least some phones out in the field. You have coverage. They didn't have anything back then. The guys I learned from loved Twister. They loved this movie. There were some things that weren't really necessarily believable about it. They did not care, because just to be able to capture the thrill, the absolute savagery of the storm, and to understand that despite everything, and this is the thing about Bill Paxton's character that distills it for me. It's not just about the science. You can tell yourself it's all about that. You can tell yourself it's all about you want to warn other people. You can tell yourself that it's all about trying to be a good citizen or to get the perfect photo. None of that matters when you're staring up into the funnel and it's swirling overhead and you're watching this thing. It may come and take you away. Mm-hmm. But you can think of is just how incredibly powerful and beautiful and terrifying this storm is. And a part of this elemental creature, this monster that you've created. Mm-hmm. And that first scene with Helen Hunt.
Yep.
That brutality of it, and her fascination with it.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, the scenes are very well edited, very well paced. Yeah. I do like how the Twister gets like a choir leitmotif kind of thing. It's like, it's almost biblical in its structure.
Yeah. The level of destruction you see going from the first one, minimal at best, the second tier. Oh my God, that just took down a house. Third tier. Holy cow, that took down a city block or whatever.
Yeah.
Tier 4 destroyed a town.
Yes.
And then the tier 5.
Yeah, I love the dinner scene where they're just like talking about stuff, and she says, "Is there an F5?" And then everyone just goes silent. And then you have the preacher guy. Like, having him do the line was perfect. He's like, "Thunder of God. There's only one of us who has ever seen it. And it immediately cut to Helen Hunt, which film language, if you know film language, that's the movie telling us it's her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if you know, kind of
That's
thing.
that's the tornado you saw at the beginning of the movie was
Well,
an F5.
The one that they actually show that is the most terrifying to me is the one that's actually early. The twin tornadoes where they're walking around each other. And they're
Oh yeah.
now that's
The
actually
sisters.
called Dead Man Walking. It actually has a name in Native American lore. And some people will dispute this. I do not care. I've heard this all my life, so I know Dead Man. It looks like a man walking when you see it from a distance. This is death because there are these satellite tornadoes spinning around a core that's fixing to come up, and you are going to have this mothership land on you. When you see the legs moving, when you see the arms moving on it, you are experiencing and witnessing a once in a lifetime occurrence. I've actually had one of my spotters see this. He was actually on the radio with me, called me, Becky, I'm seeing it. And literally he's seeing a multi-vortex tornado, and it is Dead Man Walking. Now that day we dodged a bullet because that's the day that it actually back up into the clouds. We called the warning on it, called the National Weather Service. I got his report in. We put the video on there, and he got it out to my people, and we got the warning down. Thank God it didn't turn into what happened with Gerald. The Dead Man Walking is actually the most terrifying one to me. And I saw it. I was like, this is really early in the movie. That is the one that terrifies me more than anything else, because you don't really think what is that? It looks thinner. It's ropey. It sort of looks different. It doesn't look like the huge wedge you're thinking of. That's the one that's going to kill you. And we have to be aware of that. And so they did such a perfect job introducing the multi-vortex tornado to us. And I thought that was a perfect foreshadowing too, as we go up in the tiers of how dangerous these storms actually are.
Rosa, have
Yes.
you seen the Emblem video 2 days and more Oklahoma?
Yes, I believe I have. Yes, it's the one you're talking about, the EF5 that actually, or at the time I think it was F5. The Moore, Oklahoma storm where it wiped down everything down to the school. I just tore up the town so bad.
Yeah,
And,
if
well,
you
I
haven't
haven't
seen the video, a friendly reminder. We have hit the 8 p.m. All right, thank you.
Yeah. I was about to say. Yeah, I'm about to
All
say.
right,
I'm gonna bow
Jason,
out.
just give me a sec. I'm gonna end the show. So
Yeah.
hold your horses. All right. So we got for you. So tomorrow we're doing Skyrim at 6 p.m. That'll be fun. Do you want to join us, Rosa?
I won't be able to tomorrow. I am sorry. I've got my family member.
Another time, Rosa. It's fine. Sunday, I'll be doing some Pokemon Scarlet. Tuesday, Total Request Tuesday. Monday, I think I got to check with Pen. I think we're doing multiplayer Monday on Tuesday. So we're doing some TF2. Friday, we're going down the Star Wars Black Hole. So that'll be fun. And then, yes, Emblem's video. So, thank you, Rosa. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Redoubt. Thank you, Lethal. Thank you, Hooded Raven.
I love you guys.
And King Potato makes an appearance.
King Potato.
Yeah, he's cool. Great watching the stream. Thank you, Lethal. So, as always, this is Nick from the Phoenix Press. And remember, I can only show you the door. You're supposed to walk through it. Everybody.